I'm really excited to hear about this, but I will say, Nathan, you need to get up on deck. So Ryan, take it away, give it up.
Hello, everybody. My name is Ryan. I'm CTO at Energy Cap in central Pennsylvania. I'm starting to try and tweet professionally at Software and Booze and personally at Ryan Booze because sometimes getting those things across gets hard. Yes, my last name is Booze, like beer. And yes, I literally may be slightly related to the people that might be possible that we now call alcohol booze. For those of you who don't know, this is an EC Booze whiskey log cabin bottle out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, which is where my family line is from. So last year, I get intimidated by talks like this at technical. In other situations, it's no big deal, but I always feel like I don't have anything to provide or give. I usually feel like quite a taker at these conferences. And so last year, I got to the lightning talks, and there was a guy on stage talking about raising his first chickens. I said, well, shoot, I've raised chickens. If he can talk about chickens, I can talk about something. Hey, there you are. Good work, man. And so this is a brief story. Talk about what my family has learned. We've been through a lot in the last year and a half, made some crazy decisions. So what we've learned in our 15 years as a growing family about making big bets and learning from big opportunities. And how it's actually got us back to the place that we can really call home. And so big bet number one was me asking Laura out on a date 15, almost 16 years ago, and she said yes, so that was awesome. Big opportunity number one to trust was her saying yes to marrying me. Man, for those of you who know, marriage takes a lot of trust, and we didn't know that going into this. When we got married, I said I was comfortable with 2 children. I grew up with 1 sister, and I thought that was nice and comfortable. Laura grew up with 3 other sisters, and she said, I'd be happy with 6. And so a big opportunity to trust number 2 came when the first 2 years of our marriage, we tried to have children, and we couldn't get pregnant. And we found out that Laura had PCOS, which made it difficult for us to get pregnant. We kept trusting and believed that it would happen, and so 3 years into our marriage, we had this awesomeness. Vivienne Booz tried to come 2 months early. We were able to hold it off for just over 3 weeks, so she came 5 weeks early. So she had to spend an extra week in the hospital to get a suntan. The crazy thing, the next big bet for me came when Vivienne was born. Because she was premature, she had to be rushed off to have some medical stuff done, and I'm so enthralled with this new life that I ran back to Laura's hotel room. She's still in bed, and I said, guess what? I'll meet you at 4. Big opportunity to trust number 3 came just a couple months later. Unfortunately, adding another person into our marriage and our family brought up the selfishness that was really underlying the surface. And we were on the verge of choosing divorce, and we had a great church and a great family come around us and help us restore our marriage. And 15 years later, we are kicking stronger than ever. Which led to big bet number 3. This is Leah. Leah joined us a couple years after that. And so we started to think about what it was to have the family we wanted to have. Now we have a vision for maybe a little bit larger family than most. And my wife is an amazing educator. She has a master's in English literature. And she's always had a dream and a desire to homeschool. And so we said, man, if we want to homeschool and raise a family of people that are self-sufficient, that are inquisitive, that like to explore, that can help others, where could we do that best? Well, the family farm I grew up on, of course. And so we had my mom and dad over for dinner one night. And we said, hey, we're going to propose something to them. When they are ready, 10 or 15 years from now, to maybe start to think about giving up the farm in retirement, it's a hobby farm, it's not a working farm, we'll take it over from you. Well, they beat us to the punchline at dinner and said, oh, by the way, we just bought a lot to build a house on, and we're getting ready to sell the farm. Well, that became an opportunity for trust as well. For 3 years, we went back and forth with my mom and dad. Their big issue was, you're a young family. You don't want 33 acres and a 170-year-old farmhouse. What are you thinking? But over 3 years' time, they had a deal fell through. We had some things change, and we were able to take the big bet of buying an old farm. And so we owned a 33-acre farmette with a 170-year-old farmhouse. That was pretty awesome. Unfortunately, right before we got there, we had an opportunity to learn what it was to trust in a really big way again. 2 days before we moved, we lost our 3rd child at 20 weeks to stillbirth. And so what was supposed to be a new home really became quite a retreat center for us for the next couple months. But it also provided the opportunity for us to feel like we need to fill this void with something. And so Laura was ready to dive in with our first child at 5 to really dive into homeschooling. And so we have a thriving homeschooling house at this point. And my wife is spectacular at what she does with that. That also allowed a big opportunity for a big bet for number 3 to come along. So this is Malachi. But the big opportunity in this, now we're 3 years into owning this farm, and it became pretty clear that I don't really know how to moderate. And so there's 33 acres and a lot of potential. And so very quickly, we had 3 kids. I had grown a garden to 3,000 square feet. I planted 70 tomato plants one time, which was really stupid. I planted a small orchard of 25 trees. I increased our lawn from an acre to 3 acres because that was cool and we could run and play everywhere. And Laura said, hey, we should try some chickens. And so she meant like 10. I got 100, raised them for meat, and ground the feed myself every day for 11 weeks to make them organic chickens. Anyway, so we realized the opportunity was I had to learn how to dial back. How are we going to live this family thing out? How are we going to do it well among a full-time job in a fast-paced technology business, growing kids, trying to homeschool, trying to be active, and living 25 miles from everything that we knew. Our church, our work, everything was 25 miles away. And so we made but in the midst of that, thinking we had figured this out, we made another big bet. We had number 4. This is Audrey. But we quickly realized with 4 kids, living 25 miles from everything with this farm, we had to sell. So we thought. So we put the farm up for sale, thought we had a buyer, bought a new house with 5 bedrooms, plenty of room for my in-laws to come. This is 1.5 miles from my work. It's less than 5 miles from everything we did. But we had to learn to trust again because our deal fell through in the farm, and we had to wait. In the midst of that waiting, though, this unique thing happened. If you've never grown up out in the country, you might not know this. There's no such thing as curbside recycling. Well, we had curbside recycling and air conditioning, and that kind of duped us into thinking, oh, we can handle more. Who cares that we're owning 2 properties and doing this? And so we made a big bet for number 5. In the midst of that, the farm did not sell. We realized that we really have to figure something out here. And so I had a game plan. It was 14 months I could last on 2 properties. 14 months hit, and I realized we got to do something. And so we chose to put both houses on the market. The house we were now living in for less than 8 months sold in 24 hours for more than I was asking. And so we took a big bet, packed everything up again. In less than 9 months' time, I moved my family one place and right back to the farm. We did get this awesomeness out of it. This is Josiah. And I think the biggest opportunity we've learned at this point is, in 15 years of marriage with now 5 kids and lots of big dreams, we're learning more and more how to use our talents and gifts to impact the world around us in a better way and how to love people well. And every time I get frustrated that I still am stuck in a 3x1 internet speeds, I just have to walk out on my porch and see this. It's not so bad. Thank you so much. Oh, wait, and this, I don't know yet.
Thanks. Well, I woke up I was able to make it down here for the 7 o'clock breakfast, so I don't know, that's, well, I'm pretty taking big bets too.